What the hell is going on with Canada? Welcome to the Ordinary Canadian episode 6. Here's something that should bother us all as Canadians, regardless of which party we voted for. The Liberals became a majority government this week. Nothing wrong with that. It's a combination of by-election wins and floor crossings that basically push them over the line. That's completely fine. There's much precedent for this, and this is how a Westminster parliamentary democracy works. Majorities are frequently formed that way, and it is democratic in the parliamentary context. What happened next, though, is what we need to talk about. So within days of formalizing this new majority, the Liberals restructured parliamentary committees to give themselves majority control of the seats on each one. That is also standard. Majority governments do this. This is where it gets interesting. They began issuing basically these new committee majorities and having them push all proceedings behind closed doors. At the Health Committee, cameras were off, the public was excluded minutes into the meeting. At the Ethics Committee, same thing. At the Science Committee, the Liberals moved the committee to closed session right as the Conservatives were trying to debate a motion to investigate a $200 million federal agreement involving spaceport in Nova Scotia. At the Veteran Affairs Committee, the chair basically adjourned it unilaterally. He shut down a Conservative motion to study the impact of budget cuts on veterans before there was even a vote on whether it should be studied. And at the Human Resources Committee, the Liberals used their new majority to shelve debate on a $6.6 billion information technology, so IT modernization project that began in 2017, which now has a $1.7 billion budget, but is 3 times over that. So the government was basically being asked to produce documents, and instead it used a procedural maneuver to make the debate itself disappear. And this is not about politics. Full disclosure, I voted Liberal in the last election. I stand by my vote. The government House leader, Stephen McKinnon, said this week that the House is going through a, quote, period of adjustment, unquote, and that he is fully committed to committees operating publicly. He also warned that if Conservatives keep showing up to, quote, obstruct, unquote, it will provoke a counter-reaction. It's important to sit with that for a second. The committees exist to hold the government accountable because power is pretty centralized in a Westminster parliamentary system like we have. The opposition showing up to probe a $6.6 billion overrun and asking for documents is not obstruction. That's their job, even though I dislike them. That's what committees are for. The cameras get turned off and the public gets locked out at the exact moment the government is being asked to explain itself. The Liberals aren't the first to do this, they won't be the last. Majority governments always eventually find ways to slow down accountability. But from ATIP to this, Carney's Liberals have been doing it at record